Good afternoon, everyone. So as you can tell by the first slide here, my name's Danny, and I'm a consultant with itslearning. This particular webinar is around early years, and more specifically how we can use itslearning with early years with sort of three main factors. Okay, so the agenda for today, first thing we're going to do is look at just sort of the day-to-day resources and how we might engage with the child to give them resources quickly, easily, and make sure that they're getting the right thing, particularly if they're not in the classroom and we're not there to direct them. You know, if they're accessing from home or something like that, then just making it really simple for someone to access and to see what they need to see. Okay, so lots of different ways to do this, but we'll be concentrating just on one of them today. Secondly, we've got homework, and again, a few different ways to do this, but we'll look at a good way of delivering homework to a child, and I'll show you how we can put that link in and get it going. And then finally, we're going to look at the reading diaries. We tend to get a lot of requests around this, so I just thought it was something nice to put on there. Again, we'll talk through that a bit more when we come to it. First off, we'll just kick off with this first point here. If there are any questions as we're going through, just drop them in the chat. We'll come at the end and we'll do a bit of Q&A at the end. Okay, so first of all, we're looking at sort of the day-to-day resources. So how we make content engaging, how we make it easy to access. We're not going to go through too much here. Obviously, we'll go through a few little bits, and then if you're interested, if you want to know more, then obviously we can spend some time with you and go through it. Okay, so just moving over to my itslearning platform, I'm going to log in as my child, who is Laura. And you can see as soon as I've logged in, as soon as I've hit that login button, I get my content straight away on the screen. So I don't have to navigate anywhere. I don't have to click around in different places. It's just there waiting for me, ready. And we can see that this week, let's say, Laura, in Laura's class, she'll be doing the Great Fire of London. So there's some information here, a nice YouTube video, some links to other sites or games. And we've got a bit of a poll here as well. So we can see here what's the cause, and we have no idea because I've completely forgot. I'm sure it was at a pie shop learning. Let's say it's wind. That'll do. Okay, now we can start to do that. So we'll start to sort of look at how we do this. And the great thing about this particular method of doing it is if I was to log out as Laura, and you know, next week I was to come back to the classroom and log back in. So let's log back in here. As soon as I log back in, you know, this new week we're going to be doing about the Egyptians. So the child has not had to do anything extra. They just log in and they get the topic that we're going to be doing either in class in this session or that we're going to be doing this week. Okay, so we'll be showing you kind of how to do this, the sort of technical little bit behind it. It's not too much, and just helping you guys to deliver this kind of experience, this straight away, you know, content straight away experience directly to the children, whether they're at home or in the classroom. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to my staff member. Okay, so I'm on here now as my staff member, and I need to create this this resource. So I'm going to create a resource for the Titanic, and really simple. I just go up here where it says add. I'm going to add a page on this occasion, and I'm going to title that page the Titanic. Okay, so I've got my resource here already now. I just need to start adding in my content. So I'm going to change my layout just so I've got a bit of a wide left and small right hand side there. It's kind of how I like to lay my resources out. And I'll add a content block. So at this point, lots of things we can add. So we can add files and images and polls, like you've just seen. I'm just going to add this rich content one here. And I'm just going to label this box introduction. Okay, now with my introduction, I want to put a video, a YouTube video in. So I'm just going to click on this, this sort of black circle with two chevrons. And I'm going to paste in the URL to my YouTube video. I get a little idea of how it's going to look, and I can hit insert, and my YouTube video is now in my page. Okay, so I've started to build up my resources for this particular topic that we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's put a few more in here. Let's do content block and rich content again. So about, just type that about info. I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm just going to copy and paste it from Wikipedia because it's definitely going to be accurate. It saves me having to do it. Okay, so let's just make this a little bit more engaging for people. There we go. And we can save that. Okay, so I've got my introduction, I've got my about info, and I'm starting to take shape with the page here. So adding a couple more, in this case, I might add an image, and I can choose my image file. So I'll do the Titanic one there and upload that. And then I'll choose my second Titanic image and upload that. And finally, my third Titanic image and upload that one. Okay, so that's my 3 images. Those in there. I'm going to drag and drop that to the right hand side here. And we can see my page is now looking a little bit nicer, and we can click on these images to sort of focus in on them. And let's do one more, and let's just do some useful links. Again, using my little black circle with 2 chevrons, that's this one here. Paste it in a page, and that's not going to work too well. So let's find a better one. That looks better. So let's insert that, and OK. And again, just dragging and dropping it to where I want it. So I can see now I've got a link to a website down here. It's the Wikipedia site I've been using. I've got some more info, I've got some pictures, and a nice video. Okay, so this is my page. This is what we'll be using to study the Titanic next week. So all I need to do now is make this the first thing that the learner sees or the child sees as they log into the platform. I can do this by clicking on More, go into my settings, and choosing Course Properties and Features. In Course Properties and Features, under the Functions, we have Choose Start Page. And this is where we're going to choose the Titanic. We can click Save, and now that page is the first page that the child is going to see when they log in to the platform. So let's jump back over to Laura here, and let's log out. Let's log back in again, pretending it's next week. And we're straight in onto that Titanic page. Okay, so whatever topic we're doing for that particular lesson or that particular week, the information is straight away delivered to the child. There's no searching around or anything like that. We can make this as engaging as we want. Okay, so we decide whether it's just going to be boring old text or whether it's going to actually be a PowerPoint presentation. We could put that on. or anything, a Word file, we could do it like that. All we need to do is just make sure that when we go to our settings and we go to our course properties and features, we're changing that start page to the right thing, whether that's an uploaded PowerPoint, an uploaded Word file, or whether it's something we've created within itslearning, like the Egyptians. We can make it the start page for the child to see. Okay, so simple as that, really quite easy just to either upload something or create something as we've just done then, and then make that the first thing that the child sees. Now there is one other setting that we need to know about really to do this, and that's where the administrator comes in. So we need to get the school administrator to go into their admin panel, go into profiles, and within profiles, we've got a little one here for students. We can select the yellow pencil, and there is an option in here for start URL. And we want to make sure that that start URL is the last used course. Okay, because what will happen then, as soon as the child has selected a course, or if they have one course, which is what we're doing in this case, this will make sure that the first thing that happens is that they log into that course, and the first thing they see is that particular piece of content. Okay, so the administrator does this, and then the teacher can carry on as we've just seen. Okay, so I'm going to log out of my learner just for the time being, and we're going to come back here to the slideshow, the PowerPoint. What we're going to look at now is homework, everybody's favourite thing. First thing we'll look at is how we make homework easy to access. And we're going to do that using the page that we've sort of got here. So the first thing that the child comes to, they come to that page, and we're going to make sure that the homework is displayed there. Next, we're going to help the child do their homework in order. So if we've structured a piece of work and we want to deliver it in a particular order for the child to go through, we're going to go cover how we do that. And then again, look at it from the child's point of view and see what experience they're going to have when they log on to itslearning. Okay, so coming back to my teacher, we can see here that I've got a little resource here called Egypt Homework, and this is in a learning path. So it's a resource that we call a learning path. And when we just open that up a bit, we can see there's 3 files in it. So I've created 2 notes and I've created a test at the end. And I want them delivered in this order. So with the learning path tool, we can see that in step 1, I've just taken this particular Life in Egypt resource and I've added it in as step 1. I've done the same for step 2 and step 3, and then I've hit complete and made it visible. Okay, really easy to do. We just click on edit and we can move them up or down if we want to using the 3 dots. We can remove them from the plan, from the learning path, and add different ones in. So I could add in the Titanic one that we just created. And at the end, providing they complete the test, they can complete this learning path. This is what we're going to link to our resource for the child. So going to my Egypt resource, okay, so this is the one that's currently active. It's the first thing that the child sees when they log in. Bit of an issue there. Joan. Let me just add Joan 2 here. Okay, bit better now. A few technical library issues there, but all sorted. Okay. Okie doke. So enough clicking around. We'll go to our Egypt resource here and we'll add a content block just like we did before. And I'm going to call this content block homework. There's a couple of things we can do here. So we can add in an image if we want them to click on an image to go to homework. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to create it as a file just so that you guys can see how it works on the kind of the back end, I suppose, if you will. Okay, and the first thing we need to do is find how we're going to link this in. So there's a couple of ways we can do it. First of all, you can see the link tool here. We don't really want to use that one. Okay, what we want to use is this folder, which is a tree link tool. And when we click on the tree link, we can see that we can select the Egypt homework file. We can add that in. Now, if I had got a picture in here or something like that, we could just click on the picture and do exactly the same thing. Okay, I'm going to leave it as that for the time being, just so that we can see how this is how it's going to feature and look. So we press OK, and I'm going to move that just over here. So straight away now, my resource, that's the first thing the child is going to see. And there's going to be a block there for homework, and the child can just click on that particular link or that particular picture and start the homework that they've got to do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, just because I've had to mess around a little bit, we're going to make sure that that is still the first thing that people see. It is, it's right there, so that's good. And we're going to come back to the child. So as the child, I've logged in. I'm on my Egyptian work here, which is what we're doing this week. And I can see my homework. I can select that homework and I can press start. So straight away now, it's showing me and it's walking me through the different resources that I put on as homework. So I can see life in Egypt was very difficult, very different, sorry, to what we live today. There were no games consoles, cars or supermarkets, not even mobile phones. And what I've done here, let me jump back up there, is we can add in audio recordings as well of ourselves kind of saying this stuff, just so that people can, or the children can press play and read along with us. Okay, so they can hear us as we're reading it and they can read along with us. There's other tools to do this. We can use the immersive reader, but this is a really simple way that the child can just hit on play and they're hearing exactly what we've written here. And obviously it's great for them to hear their teacher, the teacher's voice saying that as well. Kind of humanizes it and shows them that it's quite important. We can then go to the next resource. We can see here that Egyptians also had cemeteries, but they were called tombs. Again, the audio snippet there, and some more important Egyptians known as pharaohs were buried in the pyramids. Okay, so really sort of visual, keeping things big, simple, big images there. I mean, we all know, you learn as best and how to sort of structure this stuff, but how this looks is really nice. It's kind of a focused area, so they're not looking at other things, and it's showing them that they've looked at something, it's ticked off, and then when they come to the end, they've got this little test, and there's me. And again, as the teacher, you can press play, read along with the child, let them see that it's you there, that the work's coming here from the actual teacher, and then they can start the test. Okay, so in this one, we've got, again, the audio recording, but it says, what did they not have in Egyptian times? So they didn't have mobile phones or supermarkets. We can hit next. Where did the Egyptians bury their friends when they died? I'm going to say in a cemetery. And where did the Egyptians bury the most important pharaohs? Let's go with pyramid. Okay, so we can complete that one. And we can choose whether we set the results or not. But as soon as they've completed it, it comes up complete over here, and they can then come out and that piece of homework is done. For us as teachers, we can check this homework, we can go to that test, and looking at the results, we can see if they've passed, what score they got, and looking into it, we can see more about what they actually got right and wrong. So I purposefully got one wrong there, so that we could see that it shows up in red and that the point hasn't been given. And we can also feedback to the learner as well. One, as a teacher, we can feedback, and two, we can do it as they get the questions right and wrong. So as soon as they get a question wrong, they can get some feedback to sort of go in and advise them of what they've got wrong and then tell them to have another go. Okay, so just some constructive feedback that we can put in there. Okay, so just to show you that feedback, here's our 3 questions that we added. And let's look at this question 2 that we got wrong. And if we were giving them feedback, we could see that the correct answer, they would get feedback saying, that's great and well done. And if they didn't get the correct answer, it would tell them close, but try again. And then just give them a bit of an idea. So remember that they called the place where they buried their friends something different to what we would call it today. And that would mean they'd go back in and kind of realize that it's not a cemetery, it's a tomb kind of thing. Okay, so we've put that homework link in. The child can come online, click on homework, and crack on and do it. And we can keep changing this link. So we can keep editing this box, removing that link, adding it to a different resource. That way the child only ever has to click homework or access homework on a picture that you choose to put up. There's no kind of looking in different places. There's no thinking, right, well, which one do I need to do? It's just really easy, really simple. They've got some information here. They go into the homework and they're taken through it step by step. Okay, so keeping it nice and simple and visual for the children. Okay, final point. We've got our reading diary. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can do a reading diary within itslearning. I've chosen the way that's been kind of simpler and quicker to set up, just because it's kind of the easier way to do it, and that's what we're all about on this webinar. If you do want to look at other ways, if you are interested in reading diaries and journals, then get in touch with your key account manager and let's have a conversation about the different ways that we could potentially do this, find the best way for your school. Okay, so we'll look at just basically knowing what the child's reading at home. So obviously this could be a home diary rather than one that the school sets, and allowing friends to show interest and share. So making sure that conversation gets flowing, getting excitement drummed up for other books and things like that, and just keeping them engaged with reading. So back over to our teacher here. And we can see that I've got a discussion on here, and we basically just put click on your name and tell us what you're reading at home. We would love to know what you think of it, and maybe other children would like to read the book after you. Again, we've got the audio recording there, so they can press it and they can read along with us. Just gives them that sort of easier way of getting information. Under here, I've only done 4, but we get the idea. Every child has their own thread, and when they go on, they click on their name and tell us what they're reading. So really easy, really sort of straightforward. We do have a report so that we can see who's actively posting on there and who isn't. So I can jump to Laura, for example, and we can see that she's not posted yet. So obviously we can jump in and ask her why. Okay, so let's run in and make sure that the child can access this really easily and really quickly. So going back onto our Egyptian images, I'm going to edit my homework again. In this case, I might just put quick links. Okay, so we've got our homework there, and using that little folder, that tree link tool again, I can add my reading journal or my diary and hit OK. So now I've got that homework link and I've got what am I reading at home. And again, these can be pictures, so they don't have to be just normal text. We can make it more engaging for the learner. And as soon as they click on that, they're taken to the resource here. Okay, so let's go over to our learner and see how they do it. Okay, so let's log in. Our Egypt page has come up, and what am I reading at home? I can select Laura, and I can put I'm reading, or what am I reading? Reality check. By Damon Cleary. Okay, it is what I'm reading rather than what she's reading, but there we go. We can, as the learner, put different things in here. So if we wanted to, we could ask the child to record their audio and tell us, record the video if we wanted them to, if that was acceptable. And obviously we can, the child can add links to, the book reviews or covers, that kind of thing. It kind of just depends on what we want to achieve with this and how much the child wants to explore the different options. So I'm just going to put that in there for now, and there we go. We can post that reply, and then Laura's friends or classmates can come and see what she's reading and comment on it. As the tutors, we can go in and kind of get a better idea of what's, who's reading at home, who's reading well, and who's kind of progressing these conversations forward. And obviously, it's going to be the kids that really like to read. The great thing here is we can print these conversations, these threads. So when we print it out, we can print it as a PDF, for example, and keep that as evidence of, the books that they're reading and the engagement that they've got within those. Okay. So that brings me to the end. I realise that my voice has been a bit, let's just say, mesmerising, shall we, through this one. So if we're still awake, let's do some Q&A. If there's any questions, just drop them in the chat and I will pick them up. But I do know that it's quite nice weather, particularly in the north of England up here. So let's blast through some. Okay, I'll give you a couple of minutes if you do have any questions. If not, then please feel free to drop off. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be sent out as well. We wish you all a great day.
So we've got a question here, Danny. Would you recommend turning off the resources so that everyone works via the planner?
So we can't really turn off the resources. We can change it around so we just use the planner and we make that kind of the central point. It's a little bit more complex to set up, but if it's something that interests you, then yes, we can work with you to do that. But the resources will still be there. We can't just remove that at the moment.
If there's any more questions, please just post them in the question box. We'll give it a couple of more minutes to see if anything comes up. So the same response to your answer, actually, Danny, at the moment and in the future. So I think that's referring to resources not being able to be turned off.
Yeah, so the answer is it's been talked about and is being talked about, but I have there's nothing set in stone then as to what's going to happen with that resource. So at the moment, all I can say is that we don't have plans, I believe, to remove resources at the moment, but it is something that's come up before, and it is something that we're listening to and considering in our future developments.
And the response to that was thank you. Any more questions from anybody? I can't see anyone typing. So Danny, I will hand it over to you to close this webinar
then. No problem. Okay, everyone, thanks very much for attending and for listening and making it this far. If there are any questions in the future, please do ask your key account manager. And if you don't have a key account manager, if you're sort of an interested party, for example, then contact us via that contact form online. If you're looking at sort of doing this, or if you want to discuss this shown in this webinar further, again, contact your key account manager and we'll set up a meeting to go through and just get you on the right track. Okay, so that's me for now. I'll let you all get off and hopefully get some sunshine, and we'll see you in the next one.